headlines. Parliament endorsed non-resident ambassador nominations to Russia and Morocco. Government to spend 10.3 million to provide discounts on electricity and water bills this Ramadan. Government is seeking technical advisors for the construction of Adu City's Hidadu Hurumidu Bridge. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. The Maldives government condemned Israel's decision to halt the entry of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, insisting that it is a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement and international law. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement said the Israeli government's decision to halt the entry of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, which is a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement, international human rights laws and international humanitarian law. The statement said the Maldives reiterates its call on the international community to put an end to these grave violations by Israel, activate international accountability mechanisms, and ensure the safe, continuous, and unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid to all areas of the Gaza Strip. The statement also reaffirmed its support of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, stressing that a just and lasting resolution to the conflict can only be achieved through the establishment of an international and sovereign state of Palestine, based on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. Israel blocked the entry of aid trucks to Gaza, with Hamas calling on Egyptian and Qatari mediators to intervene. Parliament endorses President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu's non-resident ambassador nominations to Russia and Morocco. Lieutenant General Abdul Rahim Abdul Latif has been nominated as the non-resident ambassador to Russia. Currently, he serves as the Maldives ambassador to Turkey. Additionally, President Dr. Muizzu proposed the appointment of Ahmed Sarir as the non-resident ambassador to Morocco. Sarir currently holds the position of Maldives ambassador to Saudi Arabia. The parliament during Monday's sitting unanimously endorsed the two nominations. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu, meanwhile, has nominated the non-resident ambassador to the Philippines and forwarded the nomination for parliament endorsement. The president nominated Maldives' resident high commissioner to Malaysia, Dr. Mariam Shabina, as the non-resident ambassador to the Philippines. Her nomination was put forward to the Parliamentary Foreign Relations Committee during Monday's sitting for review. Government drafts a special law aimed at preventing pet abandonment and animal cruelty in the Maldives. The Animal Keeping and Animal Protection Bill was moved during Monday's sitting by the ruling People's National Congress PNC lawmaker Muhammad Abdul Rahman on behalf of the government. The bill is designed to streamline regulations and standards to facilitate sustainable and safe animal husbandry, breeding, buying and selling of animals in the Maldives. The draft law will establish procedures for the medical treatment of animals to ensure the health and well-being of imported and domesticated animals and to protect them from diseases transmitted to and from animals and humans. The import of animals into Maldives, possession, import and trade of animal feed and medicines will be required to be registered under this bill. Under the bill, the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Welfare is responsible for formulating animal welfare policies and enforcing the law. The bill also outlines measures to be taken for neglect, abandonment and cruelty towards animals. A fine of between $649 and $64,850 will be imposed for anyone found directly liable for the spread of a disease through animals. A fine of between $325 and $32,425 will be imposed for illegal import and export of animals. The bill also includes a fine between $649 and $6,485 for illegal breeding, keeping of animals illegally, sample fraud, and violations of animal husbandry regulations. In addition, a fine between $325 and $3,242 can be imposed for animal cruelty or abandoning pets in public places. The bill also provides for a fine of between $325 and $6,485 for any offense that does not specify the exact penalty. The draft law comes amid mounting complaints of stray cats, especially around the capital Male. The increasing number of stray cats around the capital has prompted the government to establish a special cat shelter which is now in operation in Huru Male. The Ministry of Tourism and Environment announces that the government will spend $10.3 million to provide discounts on electricity and water bills this Ramadan. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu has announced that a discount on electricity and water bills will be provided by the government this Ramadan, similar to last year. The decision was announced by the President on 23rd February. The government has undertaken several efforts since last year to alleviate the difficulties faced by the public and bring ease during Ramadan. The provision of discounts on water and electricity bills in one such initiative. Last year, the government utilized $8.43 million for the purpose. Speaking to PSM News, the Environment Ministry State Minister Dr. Muawiyat Muhammad said the month of Ramadan typically sees increased expenditure in households compared to other months. He stated that President Muizzu has made it a priority to assist the people and bring down the costs. The President decided to give discounts on electricity and water bills for that purpose, he stated, adding that the government will spend $10.3 million to provide discounts on water and electricity this year. Speaking on PSM News program, Director General of Tourism and Environment, Ahmad Ali, said that the use of electricity-consuming appliances increases during the month of Ramadan. He stated that the President's decision to provide discounts on water and electricity bills will alleviate the difficulties faced by the people as a result of added appliance use. In addition to providing discounts on electricity and water bills during Ramadan, the President also has distributed a case of canned fish to each household across the Maldives as Ramadan incentive. The government is also working to maintain food prices. The President has also declared the last 10 days of Ramadan as public holidays to devote time to family and worship. Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Saeed confirms that tobacco products imported from China to the Maldives would not be exempt from import duty, despite provisions of the China-Maldives Free Trade Agreement (FTA). This clarification was provided in response to a written inquiry by Muhammad Ibrahim, the Member of Parliament for Northern Galur. Minister Saeed elaborated that while the China-Maldives FTA eliminates import duties on a broad range of products, tobacco items are specifically excluded from this exemption. He stressed that tobacco imports from China would be subject to the same import duty as those from other countries. He noted that the revenue generated from tobacco imports to the Maldives from China will be dependent on the volume of imports. Concerns were raised by MP Ibrahim regarding potential revenue losses for the state stemming from the exemption of numerous products from import duties under the FTA with China. Minister Saeed addressed these apprehensions by explaining that the duty on imports from China would be determined by the prices of the imported goods and the total revenue impact would only be assessed after 3 transactions are finalized. Addressing allegations of a decline in the Maldives import duty revenue due to the FTA with China, the minister categorically stated that these matters are unrelated. He provided further insight, highlighting the differing perspectives between the Maldives and developed countries in the context of FTA drafting and implementation. He also underscored the benefits of the FTA for the general public given the Maldives' reliances on imports. The China-Maldives FTA, which took effect in January, has significant implications for the fisheries sector. Import duties on all fisheries sector products exported from the Maldives to China have been abolished. In return, specified goods imported from China to the Maldives will also benefit from duty exemptions. The government is seeking technical advisors for the construction of the bridge linking southernmost Adu cities Hitadu and Hurumidu. The Ministry of Finance and Planning has announced an invitation for interested parties to submit an expression of interest (EOI) for conducting surveys, preparing the bridge design and tender documents, and offering consultancy services, including technical specifications for Adru Bridge project. The deadline for the EOI submission is 24th March. According to the announcement, documents proving the expertise and the capacity of the company should be submitted along with the EOI. The technical capabilities of the company, details of the work done in the field, the value of the completed works, the skills and abilities of the company's employees, and relevant information should be submitted. The Finance Ministry said shortlisted companies would be invited to submit bids for the work. The Arab Contractors, an Egyptian company, has already been awarded a contract to conduct a feasibility study for the bridge project. The planned bridge will span 14 to 15 kilometers, including causeways. The government aims to complete the entire project within the current term. The national flag carrier, Maldivian's first wide-body aircraft, an A330, makes flights to Cochin and Trivandrum of India. According to Maldivian, the flights were introduced to accommodate increased demand during the holiday season. Cochin and Trivandrum are the cities where a large number of Maldivians travel for medical treatment. Previously, the Cochin and Trivandrum routes were operated by Maldivian's ATR-72 and Airbus A320 aircraft. The airline said it would continue to carry passengers on the A330 if passenger demand remains high for the routes. 264 seats, the wide-body aircraft delivered to Maldivian in January operates direct flights to 3 destinations in China. The national airline is also working on acquiring another wide-body aircraft to expand operations to European destinations. Bitcoin is trading up a fifth from last week's lows, and several other cryptocurrencies that U.S. President Donald Trump said would be included in a new U.S. strategic reserve that also rallied sharply.
Trump said in a post on Truth Social that his January executive order on digital assets would create a stockpile of currencies including Bitcoin, BTC Equal, Ether, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. The names had not previously been announced. Bitcoin and Ether will be at the heart of this reserve, he posted on Sunday, March 2nd. The post sent the world's largest cryptocurrency up by more than 20% from the November lows it was trading at on Friday, helping flip sentiment on a token that has been sliding since mid-January on disappointment Trump has not followed through on pledges to loosen regulation. Bitcoin's rally since Trump's November election was spurred by optimism that the crypto-friendly president would champion a strategic Bitcoin fund and end the previous Joe Biden administration's crackdown on the industry. But beyond a flurry of appointments of crypto-friendly officials when Trump took office, there has been little concrete news so far around that policy for investors.
Chinese company Xiaomi unveils their Series 15 of devices in Barcelona ahead of the opening of the World Mobile Congress Tech Conference.
Xiaomi, the world's third largest smartphone maker, launched its new flagship smartphone Xiaomi 15 Ultra, with the base model starting at 6,499 yuan or $894.19.
With this phone, we want to reach the top end of technology and photography. Like these two together is like what really can define our Xiaomi 15 Ultra.
Leica upgraded us for the new photography experience because it has a very good quality of camera and produce good lot of photos.
Maybe for me the most important thing about Xiaomi 15 is the small form factor, because it's a true flagship, but you can hold it easily with one hand and operate it. And also it has a really nice camera.
Featuring a Leica camera, the handset is equipped with a 1-inch ultra-large main camera sensor, featuring a 200-megapixel periscope telephoto lens to tackle the industry's common challenge of low-light telephoto imaging.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that Canada will have a strong, unequivocal, proportional response to tariffs that U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to impose on Canada this week.
Trudeau said that his government continues to work, quote, to do everything we can to make sure there are no tariffs on March 4th, but has a response plan in place.
The facts establish very clearly that Canada is not an issue in terms of source of illegal fentanyl into the United States. We had about less than 1% when we first started talking about this many months ago. That number is significantly lower than that, even now. But we all know the American administration will make its own choices in terms of tariffs. We will continue to work to ensure, to do everything we can to make sure that there are no tariffs on Tuesday. But if ever there were tariffs on Tuesday, as we have all seen, as we were ready to do last time, we will have a strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said on March 2nd that tariffs on Canada and Mexico will go into effect on March 4th, although he added that Trump had not confirmed if he will uphold the planned 25% level. Lutnick's comments were the first indication from Trump's administration that it may not impose the full threatened 25% tariffs on all goods from Mexico and non-energy imports from Canada. He said the two countries have done a reasonable job securing their borders with the United States, though the deadly drug, fentanyl, continues to flow into the country. Trudeau said, however, that Canada is not an issue in terms of source of illegal fentanyl into the United States.
Crowds of Palestinians gather near the UNRWA Aid Center in Jabalia, and people are seen waiting their turn to receive aid after Israel blocked the entry of aid trucks into Gaza.
Israel blocked the entry of aid trucks as a standoff over the truce that has halted fighting for the past 6 weeks escalated, with Hamas calling on Egyptian and Qatari mediators to intervene. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said earlier that it had adopted a proposal by U.S. President Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza for the Ramadan and Passover periods, hours after the first phase of the previously agreed ceasefire expired. If agreed, the truce would halt fighting until the end of the Ramadan fasting period around March 31st and the Jewish Passover holiday around April 20th. But many in Gaza are angered by Israel's move, but also worried about food aid dropping during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan.
Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky says he believed he could salvage his relationship with U.S. President Donald Trump after their explosive meeting in the Oval Office, but that talks need to continue behind closed doors.
In an extraordinary meeting that was broadcast live on February 28th, Trump accused Zelensky of being ungrateful for U.S. aid, of showing disrespect to his country, and of risking World War III, casting into doubt Washington's ongoing support for Ukraine. Zelensky, talking to reporters after a summit with European leaders in London, said he did not think the U.S. would stop its assistance to Ukraine because as leaders of the civilized world, they would not want to help Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, Zelensky said he remained prepared for any challenges that may arise. Zelensky added that he remained ready to sign the proposed minerals deal with the United States and that he believed the U.S. would be ready as well.
Great Britain's Crowdy Bramwell produces one of the best performances as the FIS Freeride World Tour FWT returned to the Caucasus Mountains in Georgia for the fourth stop of the season.
Bramwell conquered the Kakiani, faced with a clutch run that included a huge backflip as he went on to score 85.67 points and claim his first victory of the season in the men's snowboarding. Switzerland's Liam Rivera took second place with a score of 71.33, while France's Victor Delarue was third with 67.33. In the women's competition, Noemi Eki from France earned her second win of the season after a fluid run scored her 79.00 points. Australia's Michaela Davis-Meehan with 70.33 points and Spain's Nuria Castan-Baron with 69.33 points rounded out the podium. Marcus Gogan from Canada took his second consecutive victory in the men's skiing after linking a 360 into a cork 720, giving him a score of 92.33 points. Switzerland's Martin Bender with 90.33 points was just behind with France's Virgil Didier third with 89.17 points. In the women's event, Zuzanna Wittich from Poland took the win after scoring 77.0 points, with Switzerland's Jenna Keller with 73.67 points and the United States' Taylor Dobbins with 68.67 points, finishing second and third. The tour now heads to Austria from March 8 to 13 for the final stop before the cut, which will see only the top-ranked riders advance to the FWT finals.
Firefly Aerospace succeeds in its first attempt to land on the moon with its uncrewed Blue Ghost spacecraft as a handful of private firms compete to reach the front lines of a global moon race.
The size of a compact car, the four-legged Blue Ghost carried 10 scientific payloads as it touched down near an ancient volcanic vent on Mare Crisium, a large basin in the northeast corner of the moon's Earth-facing side. Images released by Firefly Aerospace show the first few images captured by the aircraft after landing. The company becomes the second private firm to score a moon landing. Houston-based Intuitive Machines Odysseus lander made a lopsided touchdown last year. 5 nations had made successful soft landings in the past: the then Soviet Union, the US, China, India, and last year, Japan. The US and China are both rushing to put their astronauts on the moon later this decade.
That's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant day ahead.
ಬರಕಾತೆರೆ ರಮಲ ಮಹುಗೆ ಹೇ ಒಯ್ದುಮಾತ ಹುನಿಯಾ ಟಿವಿ ಬಲ್ಲವಾ ಲೋಬಿತಿ ರೈತುನಂ ಅರಿಸ್ಕುರಂ